pension system was bedeviled with a lot of crises, making retirement a very fearful thing to Nigerian workers. That old pension system gave way to the new contributory pension system that was enacted first in year 2004 and amended in year 2014. Today, workers retiring under this new system are singing a new song, a happy song for that matter, because they get their retirement benefits as when due from their pension fund administrators. Hello and welcome to Pension Matters. My name is Princess Rabi Ibrahim. It's so nice to have you join us today. On today's episode of the program, we'll be discussing matters arising from the amended Pension Reform Act of year 2014. For details of this and more, stay with us as the program will come back shortly.
Do you know there is a new pension scheme in Nigeria? It is mandatory, it is contributory, it is fully funded, based on individual retirement savings account. Under the supervision of the National Pensions Commission, the new pension scheme guarantees lifelong financial independence for every citizen of Nigeria in public or private employment. PENCOM says it's a new dawn. Call the National Pensions Commission now or log on to www.pencom.gov.ng for further details. PENCOM, your contribution counts.
Welcome back, and if you're just joining us, the program is Pension Matters on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority, the NTA. Now, it's time for what is trailing in the pension industry with Adanze Okorocha. Ada, over to you.
Thank you very much, Princess. And viewers, welcome to Pension Trail, where we'll give you the latest update and happenings in the pension industry. I am Adanze Okorocha. On our story today, Lagos votes 6.5 billion naira to fund its pension scheme. The Lagos state government has set aside 6.5 billion naira in the 2016 budget to fund its accrued pension rights and its retirees under the contributory pension scheme. The Director General, Lagos State Pension Board, Mrs. Folashade Onanuga, who made this known, also said that the government has increased its retirement bond redemption account funding rate from 5% to 10% of employees' monthly monument. She added that the state has cleared the retirees' pension contributions and has paid into their retirement savings account. In the same vein, PENCOM resolves the issue of uncredited pension contribution. The Pension Commission PENCOM appears to have got a solution to the issue of uncredited contribution resulting from contributions without appropriate schedules from employers. An electronic pension collection system, a payment platform, has been put in place for employers to remit the pension contributions of their employees, which seems to have resolved the issue. Finally, PENCOM, PFAs and PFCs strategize on growing the industry. The National Pension Commission, pension fund administrators and pension fund custodians has decided to collaborate with a view to charting a new course for the growth and development of the pension industry. The Director General of PENCOM, Mrs. Chinelo Anoho Amozu, who made this known recently, said the objective of collaboration is to facilitate the development and validation of implementation plans for the 5 strategic themes of the industry. The theme include excellence in service delivery, inclusive and expanded coverage, low cost and efficient industry, positive real returns, as well as visible impact and professional human capital. Well, viewers, that's all we have for you in this package today. Over to you, Princess.
Thank you so very much, Ada, for that update. Viewers, you're welcome to our Up Close segment where we discuss issues pertaining the pension industry in Nigeria. Today we'll be discussing the amended Pension Reform Act of June 2004. It was just recently amended in year 2014. And to discuss that with me is the Commission Secretary and the Legal Advisor of National Pension Commission in the person of Mr. Mohammed Sani Mohammed. Sir, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. The Pension Reform Act was first enacted in June 2004.
That's right.
And after several years of enactment of this pension system, that's the contributory pension system, it was just amended in year 2014. So what do you think was the reason for this amendment?
Well, thank you very much for that question. You recall the Pension Reform Act 2004 was enacted exactly in 2004 June. Immediately after the enactment of the Pension Reform Act in 2004 and subsequently the National Pension Commission was established around December of 2004, and the implementation of the act started, then issues started to come up regarding the implementation challenges, and then people started complaining here and there, and it became clear that there are issues, some implementation challenges that were coming up, but the Commission decided that rather than every time trying to change a law, because it's a law, yes, then it's important to leave the act to be implemented for quite a while, such that after a long period of implementation, then you will be able to collect a good number of issues that you can present to the legislature that will inform the amendment of the 2004 Act. And that's exactly what we did as a commission. And in 2009, we started contacting stakeholders in the pension industry. That involves the pensioners themselves, the contributors, that's workers, unions, and then the employers, other stakeholders. We went widely, and then we came up with suggestions which we presented to Parliament, and it culminated in the enactment of the 2014 Act in July 2014.
The issue now is that with this new amended Pension Reform Act,
yes,
of year 2014, so the bottlenecks that were witnessed in the 2004, how far has it been taken care of people that retired earlier before this 2014?
Well, thank you very much. Substantially so. The 2014 Act tried to identify roles and responsibilities within the different ministries, departments, and agencies involved in the process of making sure that funds are available for the payment of retirement benefits. For instance, the 2014 Act clearly made provision that the National Pension Commission would, on a yearly basis, compute what a person in the public sector is supposed to get as his accrued right. Mm-hmm. The computation for all people, and that is why we engage in enrollment exercise on a yearly basis, and we go all over the country to ensure that we enroll potential retirees that work for the federal government. We enroll them and we compute how much is required, and we now collect the total liability, and we advise, the law says we should advise the budget office. And then the budget office should now, under the new law, has a statutory responsibility to prepare and ensure that the amount is appropriated by the National Assembly and the Federal Minister of Finance also is supposed to give the cash backing and then make appropriate responsibility of the Office of Accountant General of the Federation to make that fund available for the payment into that dedicated account in the CBN, because the accrued right doesn't come to the National Pension Commission. It's not under the purview of the National Pension Commission. It is in a dedicated account, a fund that the law said the CBN should open that account, and the money should be paid into that account, and whenever an employee of the federal government is retiring, then his accrued right should be redeemed from that account and then be paid into his retirement savings account.
Like every law,
yes,
put in place,
yes,
there must be, or every amended law, yes, there must be plus and some minus.
Yes.
So what can you tell us are the plus of this new legislation?
Well, I think this the 2014 Act really brought about a good number of advantages, so to speak, which I must say, because the legislation is primarily a worker legislation, a good number of additional benefits were introduced by the Pension Reform Act 2014. The Act now expanded the coverage of the Pension Reform Act, the contributory pension scheme, beyond the federal government employees, the private sector. It is also now setting the legal framework for states and local government employees to be covered by the contributory pension scheme.
Did you take into consideration the informal sector?
Well, certainly the Pension Reform Act 2014 addressed that, and we are talking about the informal sector, yes, and then the micro pension. And the provisions clearly of Section 2 of the 2014 Act gives that window in which people in the informal sector can participate. And the coverage is so clear, and we already are about to finalize the guidelines that will facilitate the participation of people in the informal sector, and we will definitely bring this wonderful scheme to their doorsteps so that they can also take benefit of it. That's one. Number two, the Act also enhanced the rate of contribution, so that what a person contributes into the account that later on he accesses at retirement, the rate is improved from total of 15% to now a total of 18%. And the employer is supposed to contribute a minimum of 10%, while the employee is supposed to contribute a minimum of 8%.
I think I have to stop you here, because this is the part that Nigerian workers are really very interested to hear about. We'll take a short break now. We'll come back, we'll continue, bring you more on the topic. Don't go away.
Do you know there is a new pension scheme in Nigeria? It is mandatory, it is contributory, it is fully funded, based on individual retirement savings account. Under the supervision of the National Pensions Commission, the new pension scheme guarantees lifelong financial independence for every citizen of Nigeria in public or private employment. PENCOM says it's a new dawn. Call the National Pensions Commission now, or log on to www.pencom.gov.ng for further details. PENCOM, your contribution counts.
Welcome back. The program is Pension Matters, and we're discussing the amended Pension Reform Act 2014. Before the break, you were trying to tell us the advantages of the new amended contributory pension system.
That's right.
Can you tell us more, especially the area that will favor the Nigerian workers? That is the area of the contribution ratio.
Well, I was saying that the contribution ratio now is much more than the initial 15% that was introduced in 2004. Now it is 18%, and in addition to that, one important aspect that the 2014 Act also provides is that, in addition to this contribution, an employee can, through collective bargaining, decide that they will, the employee may be given or may be paid some lump sum amount at the end of his service. But this is purely going to happen if there is collective bargaining, and then the employer decides, yes, in addition to the contributions I'm making in the retirement savings account of my employee, then at the end of his service with me, I will give him some lump sum. But it's not gratuity, because gratuity is not a concept that is known under contributory pension scheme. Yeah. It's just a lump sum that an employer decides, and then the right to it crystallize where there is collective bargaining to that effect. Then another interesting aspect of the 2014 reform is that the Act now makes it possible for the employee, that is the retirement savings account holder, to access a percentage of his retirement savings account for the payment of equity contribution for the acquisition of his primary home, mortgage, residential mortgage.
Really?
Yes, this is now possible. And indeed, the National Pension Commission is already has gone far in terms of drawing up the guidelines that will bring about the way in which people can really benefit from this arrangement.
So in essence, what I'm trying to tell you that if I have an IRS account in my retirement savings account, I've been contributing into this account. If I want to buy a personal home, I can just approach my pension fund administrator?
That's right, yes, because usually the challenges that a person would want to, obtain a mortgage and then he's supposed to pay equity contribution, he doesn't have the amount, he can really approach his PFA if the provisions or the conditions of the guidelines that it's still in the works, if the provisions are satisfied, and then a person can really access up to 25% of his.
This is very interesting. This is very interesting. I'm sure a lot of Nigerian retirees or Nigerian workers will be very, very happy about this aspect of the amended pension, contributory pension, yes, 2014. But now let's come to issue of those who retire voluntarily. Can they access money from their retirement savings account? Because I remembered in the Pension Reform Act of June 2004, when you retire voluntarily, you have to wait until when you attain the age of 50 before you can access money from the retirement savings account. In this new amended Pension Act, what is the position of these people?
Well, that arrangement is still there, except that there is an additional new provision that has been ushered in, that if a person loses his job and he has not attained the age of 50, such that he would ordinarily access his retirement benefits in the normal way, then he can approach his PFA and access up to 25% of the balance in his RSA. That is quite available, and then but he has to wait for at least 4 months. In the past, it used to be 6 months, but the 2014 Act reviewed the period of waiting to 4 months. And we believe it's 6. So if a person, approaches his PFA, he can actually access his retirement savings account such.
The state governments, are they complying with this contributory pension system?
Well, thank you very much. Regarding the states, I earlier said the 2014 Act has now introduced a new dimension. It has taken the discussion of participation of states to a legislative level. In the past, it was just moral suasion. The 2014 Act did not have provision compelling employees of the states to come under the contributory pension scheme. But the 2014 Act now makes it mandatory for employees of states and local governments to be part and parcel of the contributory pension scheme. However, what the Act did was to provide a legal framework. Every state is required to enact its own law, contributory pension law in that state, and provides for it to apply to its staff, because there are constitutional issues regarding this, and pension is on the concurrent legislative list. However, the National Pension Commission is supposed to give that lead because now it is a national legislation that has covered the field, and every state in Nigeria is supposed to follow suit and then provide for the pensions in accordance with the contributory pension scheme.
Thank you so very much, sir. It's been nice having you on the program.
Yep. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Viewers, you've heard it all from Mohammed Sani Mohammed, the Commission Secretary and the Legal Advisor of the National Pension Commission. giving us details about the reviewed Pension Act, year 2014. Now, it is over to Patrick for pension education. Don't go away.
Thank you, Princess. Hello, viewers. Welcome to this week's Pension Education. My name is Ibo Patrick. Last week, we took a look at opening a retirement savings account with a pension fund administrator of your choice. We looked at the various steps that entails in the opening of a retirement savings account. This week, we shall be focusing on funding the retirement savings account. Once you have been advised by your pension fund administrator of your pension identification number, referred to as PIN, or in some cases by some individual as PIN number, you are expected to submit same to your HR or human resources or your personnel establishment for future recording and proper documentation. It is expected that once your monthly salary has been paid, your finance or accounts department or the department responsible for the deduction or the remittance of such deductions deduct the amount as expected or as stipulated by the Pension Reform Act 2014, that is 8% for the employee and 10% for the employer. This amount is deducted and is expected to be remitted into the retirement savings account of your PFA. Now, the Pension Reform Act 2014 spells it out clearly that once salary has been paid, it is expected that within 7 working days, the amount deducted and also contributed on your behalf be remitted to your retirement savings account with your pension fund administrator. Failure to do this means that as you progress into the month with this unremitted fund, you may or you shall be liable to pay 2% as long as you keep holding on to that fund. So it is advised that employers make efforts and remit as at when due into the retirement savings accounts of their employees in order to save themselves from paying penalties that will arise as a result of holding on to those funds for longer periods of time. Employees are also advised to remind employers of their obligations concerning the remittance of their monthly pension into their retirement savings account, so that this will help in streamlining and also reducing such pressures that may later come upon the employers of laborers. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Thank you, Mr. Patrick, for that pension education. We got a mail from one of our viewers last week telling us that the pension education segment is very educative and informative. So, keep up the good work. Viewers, on that note, we've come to the end of our program for today. That's our package of pension matters for this week. We do hope you will tune in next week, same time, same station, for another exciting episode of the program Pension Matters. Until then, I remain yours, Princess Ravi Ibrahim, and I urge you to enjoy your weekend. God bless you.